This video is for educational and historical awareness purposes.
In the early 1900s, there was a place in America where dreams seemed unstoppable. A place where black men and women, barely a generation out of slavery, built an empire of success, pride, and power. They called it Greenwood, but the world would come to know it by another name, Black Wall Street. Because what happened next would burn its name into the darkest pages of American history. In the early 1900s, Tulsa, Oklahoma was booming with oil money. And just north of the railroad tracks, black Americans, many newly freed or children of the freed, created something extraordinary. O.W. Gurley, a wealthy African-American businessman, purchased land and sold it only to other black entrepreneurs. Soon, Greenwood Avenue came alive, lined with restaurants, theaters, hotels, and law offices. People wore fine clothes. They owned cars. They invested in real estate. It was proof that black excellence could flourish even in a world built to deny it. They said money changed hands 36 times before leaving the community. Doctors, lawyers, educators, all under one roof of ambition. To outsiders, it was wealth, but to those who built it, it was freedom. Then came May 30th, 1921. A young black shoeshiner named Dick Rowland entered the Drexel building to use the colored restroom, located on the top floor. When he stepped into the elevator, a white teenage operator named Sarah Page screamed. No one knows exactly why. Some say he tripped. Some say he brushed against her arm, but in 1921 Oklahoma, that scream was enough to light a fuse. By the next morning, white newspapers ran headlines that fanned the flames. Nab Negro for attacking girl in elevator. Rumors spread like wildfire. By nightfall, hundreds of armed white men gathered outside the courthouse, demanding Rowland's lynching.
Inside Greenwood, veterans who had fought in World War I gathered their weapons. They'd fought for freedom overseas, and now they were ready to fight for it at home. Then, a single gunshot shattered the night. No one knew who fired it, but it was the shot that would turn Tulsa into a war zone. Within minutes, chaos erupted. White mobs surged into Greenwood, looting homes, torching businesses, and shooting anyone who tried to flee. The air was filled with smoke, screams, and the smell of gasoline. Survivors would later describe the sky, not black, but red. They said airplanes flew overhead, dropping firebombs on the city below. Machine guns rattled from above. For 16 hours, the once thriving streets of Black Wall Street were reduced to rubble. By dawn, 35 city blocks were destroyed. Over 1,200 homes were gone. Churches, schools, and hospitals burned to the ground. Bodies lay in the streets. Hundreds were killed, though no one knows the true number, because so many were never counted, never found. When the sun rose over Tulsa, the city of Greenwood was gone. Families were left wandering through the ashes, searching for their loved ones. Mothers clutched the hands of children who no longer had homes. But instead of justice, came silence. Dick Rowland, the man whose arrest sparked the massacre, was quietly released. He had never assaulted anyone, but the damage was already done. Insurance companies refused to pay claims, labeling the event a riot. No one was arrested, and history, America's memory, moved on. For decades, the Tulsa Race Massacre was erased from textbooks, from conversations, from conscience. It became a ghost story, whispered by survivors, dismissed by those who didn't want to remember.
But Greenwood was not finished. Against all odds, survivors rebuilt, brick by brick, business by business. They tried to restore what was lost. By the 1940s, Greenwood was thriving again.
not as large as before, but alive. Proof that you can burn down a community, but not its spirit. Yet even in rebirth, injustice remained. Urban renewal projects in the 1960s tore through what was left of Greenwood, a second erasure, this time in the name of progress. It would take nearly a century before America began to face the truth. In 1996, a commission was formed to investigate the massacre. Mass graves were discovered. Survivors told their stories on camera, their voices trembling but unbroken. Today, memorials stand where Black Wall Street once thrived. Tourists walk the same streets, reading plaques that describe the horror that once silenced the city. And still, descendants of the survivors fight for justice, for acknowledgement, for restitution, for remembrance. History tried to erase Black Wall Street, but the ashes still speak. They speak of what was built. They speak of what was lost. And they remind us that silence is the most dangerous fire of all.
This is The Strange Past 9/11. Because the truth doesn't die, it waits to be told.